Hello, welcome to our continuing Bible devotional. We're currently in Ephesians chapter 4, and we're continuing at Ephesians 4, and in verse 4 is where we'll start today. Just to give you a little bit of background, we don't know all the details, but there's some kind of conflict and division in the church. Most likely, it's between Jews and Gentiles, but there may be division that goes beyond that. But for whatever reason, there's disunity, there's dissension, there's friction, there's stress, and relationships are not healthy and representing Christ rightly within the church. So Paul has been instructing them in verses 1 through 3 to walk in a manner worthy of the calling of Christ. And that means to walk in humility, patience, gentleness, bearing with one another in love, striving for the unity of the Spirit. That was verses 1 through 3. He continues in that same kind of mindset by reminding them of who they are in Christ and what the church is through Christ. And that's why he says in verse 4, there is one body and there is one Spirit, just as you were called to the one hope that belongs to your call. There's one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is over all, through all, and in all. So it's not really, it'd be pretty hard to miss the point here. He uses the word one again and again and again. There's one body, one Spirit, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one hope, one God, one Father over all, who is through all and in all. Notice the two words, one and all, one and all. And he's just reminding us that there's no place for division or disunity in which we kind of have these different cliques or these different, I don't know what the word would be, but different stages of Christianity in which one person is considered more important than another person, or one person is overlooked and kind of pushed to the side, or one group is and another group is kind of elevated as being superior or more vital to the church. No, rather than saying that, he says, listen, we're all in this together. There's just one family. We're all brothers and sisters in Christ. We all come to God through the same way. We're all filled with the same Spirit. We all have the same God, and we all have the same goal. Let's not let disunity or division, that should be something that we fight against with all the fiber of our being, especially in Christian relationships, especially in the church. Now he goes on to say in verse 7, but grace was given to each one of us according to the measure of Christ's gift. Now he begins to speak about the different ways that God equips different people. Even though we're all one family, we don't all have the same function. Just like in the body, there's different parts of the body, but they don't all have the same function. But whatever functions we do have, that doesn't make one more important or one less important, or one more needed or one less needed. They're all vital, and they're all part of his grace. That's why he says in verse 7, but grace was given to each one of us. What he's referring to by the word grace there is the undeserved abilities that God gives different people within the church. Some people are gifted with the ability to teach. Some with the ability to lead worship. Others are just real prayer warriors. Some have the ability to give financially. Some have other giftings. But whatever the giftings are that we have, one is not more important than the other. They're all a result of not our merit. None of us have been promoted spiritually. None of us deserve these things. God didn't look down and say, you would be really good at this. God has given us what we call grace gifts. According to the measure, it says we were given grace according to the measure of Christ's gift. So if that's a cause of division, if we begin to kind of divide the church according to who's more important, who's less important, we have a problem. Because really we're just one family filled with one Spirit who worship one God, and we have one hope. And even though we do have different abilities and different gifts, those have been given us as a measure of God's grace. We didn't earn them, we don't deserve them, but rather we're to use them to glorify his name and to help his people. So I hope you'll reflect upon that. We'll discuss that a little more in our next devotional. Have a blessed day.